Hey guys, yeah, the rally is set to start at 7 p.m. Eastern time, and officials say local police are working hand in hand with the Secret Service to make sure security is airtight. Now, the venue where the rally is being held and the parking lot were completely locked down last night for law enforcement to conduct a sweep. And everyone who is attending this event will be screened through a single entry point for added security. Trump says his team has long requested more security at his events.
We have long requested more people, more men and women, but more people. And because, you know, we'll have rallies, 50, 60,000. In New Jersey, we had 107,000 people show up. There's never been anything like it. And we have long requested more people. That's true. That's the weakness. We need more people here for security. And we never seem to get that. And I think we are getting it now. Somebody told me that they will be providing more people now.
Trump made his first in-person remarks since the second assassination attempt at a town hall in Michigan last night. He was met with a massive crowd, and he spoke about his time as president.
Well, it's been a great experience. It's a dangerous business, however, being president. It's a little bit dangerous. It's, you know, they think race car driving is dangerous. No. They think bull riding, that's pretty scary, right? No. This is a dangerous business, and we have to keep it safe.
Meanwhile, the White House continues to call Trump a threat to democracy, despite 2 attempts at his life since July.
How many more assassination attempts on Donald Trump until the president and the vice president and you pick a different word to describe Trump other than threat?
Peter, I actually completely disagree with the premise of your question, the question that you're asking. It is also incredibly dangerous in the way that you're asking it, because American people are watching.
I spoke exclusively with the former president after the second assassination attempt, and he told me he believes Biden and Harris's rhetoric is, quote, causing me to be shot at when I am the one who is going to save the country.
Hey, hey, hey. Guess what day it is? Guess what? It's your fault. Crazy Democrats, you act Trump. Maybe, just maybe, you love him too much. Guess what? Guess what? When you wear a Trump hat, it means you are MK Ultra, high up the press, Democrat. Guess what? Guess what? It doesn't matter anyway. Guess what day? What day? It is. It's hump day. Get it on.
Holy moly! Breaking news, ladies and gentlemen. Not sure if the meme matched the serious tone of the moment, but you know it's hump day, so we're going to have a camel hump meme on a pirate ship playing music. But nobody is whistling Dixie in New York right now, Long Island, as there has been an emergency evacuation after police find explosives in a car parked inside of the security perimeter at a Donald Trump rally set for this evening, Wednesday, September 18th, 2024. This is a breaking news story. So our incredible production team is locked in and ready to go. I was going to say locked and loaded, but quite frankly, this is not, I don't know. You got to be careful with the terminology you use these days. Blew my head off, locked and loaded, ready to explode. I mean, dear God, this is the 3rd assassination attempt, allegedly, of Donald Trump. This is something that broke minutes ago, and so we have completely reframed the entire script today. We have some incredible guests today, including a congressman who has served in war and who has experienced explosives firsthand, Congressman Brian Mast, who was hit with an IED and survived. So we'll speak with him today. Tim Burchett also joins the program. We're going to talk about Trump security and the threats to President Trump. My name is Benny Johnson, and this is The Benny Show. Ladies and gentlemen, make sure that when it is breaking news, you are on the Patriot Mobile Network. Patriot Mobile Network is what we use in breaking news moments like this one to make sure that our devices are connected and reliable and ready to go and ready to rock. Again, we are monitoring a breaking news environment here in New York City, in Long Island, where there are a ton of Trump supporters. Long Island votes red. Donald Trump has been able to pull off the largest political rallies in history in this area. And we want to make history in November. We do not want to make history by having some horrific attack on the MAGA movement. A member of the MAGA movement has already perished. Corey Compertor, we keep his family in our prayers. Prayers for President Trump. Make sure that you are locked in during this cycle to get news and information. I mean, quite frankly, we are entering perilous times. PatriotMobile.com/Benny, PatriotMobile.com/Benny. Call 972-PATRIOT. Get a free month now with the offer code Benny. Cops find explosives in car near Trump rally, Long Island, after second assassination attempt. Is this the third assassination attempt? Ladies and gentlemen, you can see the timestamp on this breaking piece of news. This is less than 30 minutes old. Breaking news 30 minutes ago. Let's read. Police reportedly found explosives near car, former President Trump's rally site on Long Island, ahead of his speech on Wednesday evening. Boys, what was the time of the speech? What time is President Trump giving a speech? And let me know if this event has now been canceled. I would like to know. 7 p.m. All right. Producers tell me 7 p.m. I want to know if this event, let me know about the status of the event. I mean, of course, we would like to cover, we'll be online to cover the event. If it continues on, we do not know. It's still on as of right now. My producers tell me. Here we go. If it is confirmed, it would be the latest shocking security breach that comes just 3 days after the would-be assassin was arrested stalking Donald Trump with a rifle as he golfed at his Palm Beach golf course. Sources of the Nassau County Police Department allegedly told journalist James Lenio, guys, reach out to James. He follows us on X. DM him, see if he's able to join the program. We've reached out to a number of contacts that we have in Long Island to see if they can join the program to talk about this. There were thousands and thousands of people in line today at his Trump rally. Klein, can you please pop up what the rally line looked like? You can see that thousands and thousands of people were waiting in line next to a bomb. Let's read. Sources of the Nassau Police Department allegedly told journalists that the rally site perimeter was breached, a barrel was removed, and then a vehicle with explosive devices was moved into the rally site. This is terror. This is terrorism. It is terrorism, and we need to call it what it is. It's left-wing terrorism, state-funded terrorism. This is shocking, horrifying. Pray for the people in Long Island. As of right now, we know that that there has been nobody harmed, that the explosive devices have not been exploded as of right now. Again, this is a breaking news story. The sources told the driver that the driver ran into the woods when confronted. Who was this man? Who was this individual? So an individual, let's just start here. MAGA rally with tens of thousands of people that have already been lined up out front of the arena in Long Island. The arena is called the Nassau Coliseum. A driver illegally removed a barrier and pulled a car in that was capable of exploding and blowing up. And what you want to do is not what you want to do, but how this becomes more deadly is the car is filled with gasoline. You can obviously follow the logical conclusion as to what happens when a tank of gasoline packed full of 30 gallons of gas gets detonated. Hundreds of people may die. God forbid. The driver then ran into the woods. No one saw if he had anything on him. They just saw him take off running. A lot of cars are now parking. They're lining up at the Hempstead Turnpike. They're just parking on the grass, even over the Eisenhower Parkway. They're just parking over there. The source went on to tell Ladio on X. Thousands are expected to descend upon the arena tonight. Large crowd has already assembled. You can put up the post. Large crowd has already assembled, and many came out and camped overnight in seats next to the indoor arena. The doors don't open until 3 p.m. MAGA fans have assembled and decked out in Trump gear and waving flags. Nassau County Police told Daily Mail they are working on an email to send out in response to the alleged security incident Trump has largely moved to indoor events since the first attempt on his life in Butler, Pennsylvania. He was shot in the right ear by a would-be assassin, Thomas Crooks, at his summer rally 2 months later, 60 days to the letter. A reminder that the Secret Service whistleblower told us that there would be another Trump assassination attempt after the first one in 30 days. It ended up being just 60 days, and then Donald Trump has a second Trump assassination attempt. It was 72 hours ago. 72 hours ago. 2 months later, a gunman pointed an AK-47 at the former president as he was playing Trump golf course, West Palm Beach. At 1 p.m., the Republican nominee was rushed to safety and a secure location. Agents opened fire on the suspect. That suspect is now in custody and is being charged criminally by the state of Florida. Trump blamed rhetoric of President Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris, violence against him. Video of the moment of Donald Trump's would-be assassin Ryan Wesley Routh was arrested by cops. Routh is 58. He was seen struggling with officers with his shirt over his arms. Head, we played you that footage. He was stopped on Sunday morning, just over an hour after he allegedly pointed a rifle through a fence to kill President Trump in his sniper's nest that he had been waiting at for 12 hours. 12 hours, seemingly because he knew where Donald Trump was going to be. This man was a felon. He had a weapons of mass destruction felony on his record. He had 100, actually the accurate account is 73 other criminal offenses. Ladies and gentlemen, getting information here. Okay, all right. So here we go. This is a wild moment. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the first commentary from the FBI director on this newest attempt on President Trump's life. FBI Director Wray speaking right now. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. FBI Director Wray.
Well, good morning. Thank you, Sean. It's great to be here with you today. Let me say up top, while I realize that we're at the Aspen Cyber Summit this morning, and I promise I have some very important cyber-related issues I want to discuss with all of you, before I get to those, I just want to take a quick moment to talk about what happened over the weekend at West Palm Beach. For the second time in just over 2 months, we've witnessed what appears to be an attempt to attack our democracy and our democratic process. And I'm relieved that former President Trump is safe, and I want the American people to know that the men and women of the FBI are working tirelessly to get to the bottom of what happened. Our work is very much ongoing, and we're just a few days into the investigation, so we're limited in what we can say. At this point, what I can say is that we have dedicated the full force of the FBI to this investigation, and that runs the gamut from criminal to national security resources, from tactical support to evidence response teams, from forensic scientists to operational technology personnel, and I could go on. Together, we're working around the clock to investigate this. And now I'd like to get into those cyber issues I promised to discuss this morning. So for 3/4 of a century, the Aspen...
So this is Christopher Wray speaking for the first time on the Trump assassination attempt. Christopher Wray forgetting that he's put in charge of the Trump assassination investigation a guy named Jeffrey Veltri, who had to delete all of his anti-Trump posts from the Miami field office before getting promoted. So just small addendum that was missed there. Governor Ron DeSantis has now began his own investigation, and we look forward to checking in with the governor actually on that. We believe that the governor will be joining the program in a future date, and we'll be able to ask Governor DeSantis in person live on this program about that investigation. But we are very proud of our governor for doing that and for ripping away from the feds. Goodness gracious. Stuff is just pouring in right now. Ripping away from the feds the capacity to hide all of the evidence. Speaking of the state of Florida, just really quickly here. Goodness gracious. Anna Paulina Luna, Congresswoman, my office has received a very serious shooting threat. This division of hate campaign against Republicans is going to get someone killed. I will not be threatened, intimidated, or bow down to those using violence to push their agenda. We will win. America is a great country. We will continue to fight wonderful people who have elected me, as well as those across the country. So Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna, who's a local congressman here, but also obviously a favorite of our audience, says that she has received a very serious shooting threat. MAGA offices across the country have been shot at, and this is something that is a semi-regular occurrence, and a shocking one at that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is the crowd outside. We're gonna jump back in here, Klein, into our script. There's the crowd outside again in Long Island. I want you to pray for these people. I'm now apparently going to a Trump rally. I mean, maybe this is the point, right? Going to a Trump rally, they're trying to scare this movement. They're trying to instill fear in this movement to make you scared of supporting President Trump. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. All right. This is what the crowd looked like heading into. This is what the crowd looked like heading into the event. These were the patriots that were lined up heading into the event. And I want you to pray for these people. This is the report on the explosive device. Sources at Nassau County Police Department told me that the perimeter was breached. The perimeter was breached. A barrel was removed at the Trump rally site. Sources said, let's read directly from the reporting here from James Lalio. Sources said during K9, doing checks, they found explosive device in one of the vehicles. The driver ended up running into the woods. Nobody saw if he had anything on him. They just saw him take off running. A lot of cars are now parked there and are backed up. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is goodness gracious, a part of a terrible, terrible scene. Here we go. This is newest breaking report here from President Trump, the President Trump rally today. Reports of explosives being found at the site are unfounded. There is a person who is being questioned who may have been training a bomb detection dog near the site. The individual with the bomb dog falsely reported explosives being found. The individual is currently being detained by police. So here's breaking here. So this now is breaking news. Statement from the Nassau County PD police commissioner. Again, we've just been reading to you from the Daily Mail, and this is the news that was breaking all across social media. Don't know why there's a content warning on this. Huh? No, no. You can show it. Yeah, go. I don't know why there's a content warning. Statement from Nassau County PD Police Commissioner Patrick Ryder regarding the report of explosives found in the Nassau Coliseum. Reports of explosives being found at the site are unfounded. There is a person being questioned who may have been training a bomb detection dog near the site. The individual with the bomb dog falsely reported explosives being found. The individual is currently being detained by police. Very strange, very odd moments here. I mean, listen, we can only read to you and play for you what was breaking across the internet and what has been widely reported, which is here at the top of the Daily Mail. Cops find explosives near Trump rally in Long Island. So here we go. Okay, producers, there was a video. There was a same statement from the police department. Okay, so it sounds like this was potentially somebody calling in a threat, calling in a gag. This has been happening in Springfield, Ohio, where there have been fake bomb threats that have been called in. The governor of Ohio said that those bomb threats are being called in from overseas. Is this part of that? Is this part of a potential bomb threat? We're not exactly sure. Boys, I want to play Donald Trump from last night, please. Talking about these threats and these threats to his life. Donald Trump had a very, very consequential town hall last night that was profound and personal. And he elaborated on what it's like to be the president who's the most under attack in American history. There's never been a president who's survived as many assassination attempts as Donald Trump. Is this a third assassination attempt? We are following this breaking news. We began by saying this breaking news. We're reading to you the breaking news. I do want to note, and I do want to point out really quickly here that this is from CNBC. Let's pop this up. Ohio governor says at least 33 bomb threats prompt Springfield to begin daily school sweeps. The bomb threats were proven to be false, but have forced the evacuation and closure of schools and government buildings in Springfield, Ohio. This is what's been happening in Ohio. Is this now a tactic? Is this going to be a tactic? So according to the police department, this was a bomb threat that was called in. Somebody may have fled the scene. This is a bomb threat that was called in, and there does not seem to be a physical explosive device. Well, forgive us for, jumping on this, because there were physical explosive devices on Trump's first assassination attempt. There were 3 canister bombs that was brought to that assassination attempt by Thomas Crooks, now dead, who shot the president and killed Corey Compertor, killed a member of the MAGA movement. This is what's been happening in Ohio. State police in Ohio will conduct daily sweeps after 33 bomb threats. Springfield has become the face of national immigration debate. Springfield officials and local police have disputed claims of Haitians eating animals, although this now turns out that the city manager has to admit that there are multiple police reports of this happening. Maybe we should load up that clip just so that we can fact check ABC News a week late. But nonetheless, the city manager lied to ABC News. We now know this definitively. Not the direct topic this morning. However, the governor of Ohio, Mike DeWine, has said that these bomb threats were each bomb threat a hoax without any validity at all, says DeWine. They are originating overseas. So we don't know what's going on here. Again, this is a breaking news environment. We do not know what's going on here. The bomb threats originating overseas from the governor. Is this the same thing? The best available news we have right now, let's put up the police memo one more time, is that someone called in a fake bomb threat. This is what the police have detained somebody who's called in a fake bomb threat. So that's what we know. The police are saying that they do not have a physical explosive that they have found as of yet. So it's very strange. The whole thing is very odd. This whole thing is very, very strange, ladies and gentlemen. This seems to, at least on face value here, mirror what we saw in Springfield, Ohio over the week with fake bomb threats to cause chaos. Now, Anna Paulina Luna saying that she has saying that her office is being targeted. And I want to point out, can you please put up this tweet here, Klein? I want to show you, obviously, the crowds that are gathered outside of this arena. We're doing our best to give good and verified information. We've even updated the headline here to this live that there's been a bomb threat, and that is true. Police have now just live here said that there has been no physical bomb detected. You can see here in this video, the start of the video, a huge law enforcement presence at this event. This is a law enforcement presence. At this event, the entire event has been roped off. There'll be a single entry point to the event. Everyone has to go through the same metal detectors. And so, ladies and gentlemen, this is truly perilous times. Remarkable. And we are aware that there is a slight audio issue here. So, producers, I'm going to need a moment here. We're going to need a moment here to just make sure that we check our levels on our mics. Sometimes when you're running breaking news, you need to roll in there. So let's jump to President Trump. Let's talk to President Trump talking about his assassination attempt last night and what it's like to be the most targeted presidential candidate in American history. And of course, we will update you on the bomb threat This is the most accurate way to call it, a bomb threat on the Trump event tonight. The police have someone in custody. Here we go. Here's President Trump talking last night at a town hall about this.
And they think they're going to make their cars there and they're going to sell them across our line and we're going to take them and we're not going to charge them tax. We're going to charge them, I'm telling you right now, I'm putting a 200% tariff on, which means they're unsellable. Unsellable in the United States. And then you wonder why it gets shot at, right? You know, only consequential presidents get shot at. When I say something like that, you have countries saying this guy, but what can you do? You have to do what you have to do, right? We have to be brave. Otherwise, we're not going to have a country left.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we have some, again, potentially, we'll see. We'll see what this is. We'll see what it is. We have a relatively shocking moment in relatively shocking moment in history where the media and the country may actually be changing. I can't believe I can even say it, but the media and the country may actually be changing. We have something that is remarkable that happened yesterday, and it deserves credit, and it deserves a moment to appreciate it, where a seething, Trump-hating member of the corporate media actually apologized to President Trump on air for what's happening to our movement, what's happening to MAGA, what's happening to him and his family. The man's name is Chris Cuomo. He's done hundreds of hours of hoaxes and conspiracies against Trump. He's vilified Trump. He is one of the bad guys. However, we believe in redemption on this program, and we believe in salvation on this program, and we believe in second chances. We certainly have been the recipient of multiple second chances. And so this is something that does, before it all gets washed away, because they don't want you to see this clip. Here's a member of the corporate media apologizing to Trump for what they've done to him and his family. I think this is very important. Listen.
So I called former President Trump. And I didn't ask him any questions. I didn't go after him about his role. I just wanted to know how his family's taking this. Because I grew up like that. I grew up worried about who was going to try to hurt my father. And I told you a story last week that I remember this day. I was 7, 8 years old, okay? And I remember him jumping off that stage in some ugly houndstooth blazer and running up the front of an auditorium because someone had thrown a pie at a coconut shell at Abe Beame, who was mayor, and Bella Abzug, who was running for mayor. She used to wear these big, beautiful hats. And my father's on the stage with them in this mayoral debate or discussion, whatever. He got killed. He lost so many elections before he won one. And the guy throws the thing, and my father jumps off the stage and goes running up, throws him on the ground, holds him down. And I was so scared. And you can think what you want about Trump. He does not have many more full-throated critics of what he says and does than me. Okay? And yet I called him today because I am ashamed of how we are responding and not responding to the threats on him. And I feel for his family. And I know you can roll your eyes and say, oh, yeah, he asked for it. Listen, that's your choice, and I think it's a wrong choice, okay? We got to get out of the judgment business unless it's judging ourselves. And you got to start rewarding things that are better. And I got to tell you, I don't know how he stays in the race. I don't know how he got up after being shot in the head. And you people who try to mitigate that, you need to check yourself. He gets up, pumping his fist, stays in the race, barely even talks about it. I wanted to just say, listen, I'm really sorry that this is going on and it's being dealt with this way. Not because I'm in favor of his politics or what he says. I criticize him all the time. That's my job, and he deserves it. But he doesn't deserve this.
Isn't that nice and refreshing? And we appreciate, ladies and gentlemen, your patience as we deal with a small cracking audio glitch. This is how it goes when you're live. We do have multiple members of Congress who are standing by and who are able to comment on this horrifying reality of MAGA under attack. I mean, this is just the only other way to say it. All of our producers are ravenously monitoring what the reality is on the ground here in New York. And as of right now, based on the police report, it sounds like what this happened. There's the fake bomb threat has been called in on a MAGA rally. A fake bomb threat was called in on a MAGA rally. This is really important. You might say, New York, how many people that support MAGA can be in New York? Here's New Jersey. This is what it looked like in New Jersey when President Trump was there doing the largest political event in American history. There's 100,000 people. Was at Wildwood, New Jersey. This is a boardwalk amusement park. This is how many people could be targeted or affected. Wildwood, New Jersey, not terribly far from where President Trump is to have his rally today. With what we know now to be, and producers check me on this, at best, a fake bomb threat. A fake bomb threat. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what it looked like when President Trump was in the Bronx doing a rally. People, as far as the eye can see, a sea of red. Look at this. Is President Trump on stage? There were thousands upon thousands of people here in the Bronx. I just saw like a small park. The overflow crowd was even bigger. Trump's in New York. Trump's in New York. How many people could actually be there? Look, there's how many Trump supporters there are in New York. So this is MAGA under attack. This is MAGA under threat. Remarkable. Donald Trump Jr. yesterday, sort of speaking for all of us, saying, I'm sick and tired of having to explain to my children about people trying to shoot and kill their grandfather.
How nervous are you about your father's safety? Because we just heard from the director of the Secret Service that Biden has now taken a keen interest in which assets your dad's security detail is allowed to have and not allowed to have.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm glad it only took 2 assassination attempts, Jesse. I mean, You'd think by now, I'm getting, frankly, I tweeted about it yesterday. I'm sort of sick and tired of having to have that conversation with my 5 young children about a deranged leftist clearly motivated by the sound bites of the radical left and the mainstream media shooting at their grandfather. That happened at a golf course. My daughter Kai plays there with him every weekend. They're scared about that. I shouldn't have to have that conversation in America in 2024, in anywhere in the civilized world. No one should. But it's 100% from them. In fact, within 24 hours of the shooting, how many of these media correspondents and, again, Democrat propagandists were out there talking about the threat that my father continues to pose? I mean, Hillary Clinton said it herself. She said he's a unique threat to democracy, I guess. But you know what? After 9 years of calling him a Nazi and a fascist and a dictator and the Hitler and the greatest threat to democracy ever, what do you expect? You don't think this is intentional? They know exactly what they are doing, Jed.
Here's the way that I see it. And again, President Trump, 2 assassination attempts in 60 days, and now what is best described as a fake bomb threat call-in with a suspect apprehended by police. That's what's going on right now in New York. The event not canceled yet. A fake bomb threat call-in. Is it malevolent in order to disrupt the event? I mean, you have to just assume that. You have to then assume. This is my best take on this. Is that God is preparing President Trump, that God is preparing this family, that we are entering, and I think we all know this, we are entering tough times as a country. The world is going to enter into Thucydides' trap. It's going to enter into the 4th turning. There's going to be there's going to be chaos, and you need a strong leader. And in order to build muscle, you have to do reps. You have to tear yourself down. And you have to get hit. And you get hit a lot in order to build up the scar tissue in order to keep going. I think that's the best way to really explain and unpack this. Speaking of somebody who has been hit and keeps on going, somebody who has, quite frankly, taken a bomb for this country, survived and lived to tell about it, and who is who would have a keen insight on what's happening right now is Representative Brian Mast of Florida, who's an EOD Army bomb technician, also on the Foreign Affairs Committee, joining the program live. Congressman, fake bomb threat in New York, Long Island, for the Trump rally tonight, expecting thousands and thousands of people. These are scary times that we live in.
Yeah, you can do it for a number of reasons. All right, even if it's a hoax, it might just be a hoax as a part of a bigger plan. Maybe you're doing a hoax to disrupt something, to get people to shuttle out and go somewhere else, like towards vehicles that you want them to go towards. Maybe you just want to see what's the reaction of law enforcement so that I can gauge what I'm going to do next time when I'm going to do something for real, because I know their tactics and their protocols and their procedures, right? Maybe it's an individual that's working with other individuals. You don't know all the time what these things are, but it's serious when that takes place. And it's not just the end of the line just because you apprehended an individual or you spoke to somebody. And we need to make sure that the Secret Service stays something that they apparently haven't been lately, which is diligent on the threats.
This is not something out of science fiction. There were 3 canister bombs inside of Thomas Crooks's vehicles. According to the experts that we've had on, this was meant to be a diversionary, perhaps, attempt to explode those bombs. He did have a detonator on him. This is deadly serious.
No, look, when you're dealing with bombing, and I was blown up in Afghanistan, lost 2 legs and a finger. And when you're dealing with that, you can compare it to explosive devices around the globe that have taken place. This makes me think of the Bali nightclub bombing, was one that took place where there was a diversionary device. It caused a bunch of people to go somewhere else, and then they set off other devices, which ended up killing a large number of people that all ran towards the place that they wanted them to get to. Those are real ways that people calculate how they're going to set up an explosive attack. They're channeling you into different places. Just to compare it to a military tactic, what's one of the big points of a minefield? A minefield channels people, channels soldiers or troops or other people to where they don't want to go and where they do want them to go, where the enemy wants them to go. So it's serious tactics.
We've heard a lot about the rhetoric, right? And we've heard, well, I've had a belly full of it. I got to be honest. The put a target on Trump, the threat to democracy, calling Trump a threat, continually calling him a threat, saying he needs to be eliminated. One of your colleagues, Stacey Plaskett, said we need to shoot Trump. She corrected herself, but those are the words that came out of her mouth, and she did it live on TV.
And a lot of their staffers.
That's correct. This is correct. Many of their staffers celebrated Benny Thomas, no relation. Benny Thomas, staffer celebrating Trump getting shot, wishing that he had died. She did this publicly. This is grotesque.
Yeah, when I look at these, the left, and whether it's the left media, whether it's Kamala, whether it's Biden, whether it's take your pick of these individuals, and I listen to that rhetoric portion from them, I'm always noticing that whatever the accusation is by them, that is the crime that they are actually committing themselves. So they're going to say, well, President Trump, he is the greatest threat to democracy, or he is a unique threat to democracy, or he is this. That's not really what President Trump is. He's the savior of it. He's the one that's going to be the shield for all of us and protect us and protect our democracy. But it's the crime that the left is actually committing. It's the crime that the left media is committing, is to not be a free and fair press, but go out there and suppress what's going on in Facebook, suppress what's going on with a Hunter Biden laptop, suppress what's going on with CIA officers saying that this thing is Russian disinformation. Take your pick. They're the ones that are the threat to democracy. And it's the leftist leaders, the leftist communist socialist leaders like Harris that are the threats to democracy, that don't want to see you have the freedom that's allowed this place to be as great as it actually is. And that's the truth of the situation.
Can you explain to me the through line here when it comes to the January 6th pipe bomber, the bombs in Butler, Pennsylvania, the fake bomb threat today, although there have been a lot of fake bomb threats recently, apparently 33 fake bomb threats originating overseas in Springfield, Ohio. This caused chaos in that town. What does this have in common? How big of a threat is this? I mean, could there really actually be a bomb brought into one of these events? I mean, is this something that security is going to have to really be on high alert for?
Yeah, I mean, so let's talk about bombing for a minute. Bombing is up to the creativity of the bomber. What's the creativity of the bomber? How do you get something to go off without somebody knowing that it's going to go off? Perfect example, the amazing operation that we saw going on against all of the members of Hezbollah, checking their, hey, I got a page here on my pager, and then it blows up in their face, right? They didn't know that that thing was about to blow up in their face. That was the creativity of the bomber. I'd hate to be a carrier pigeon in Lebanon right now because they're probably praying for their lives if, they're transporting messages. But when you look at that creativity of the bomber and the actual effects, right? Let's talk about the Abbey Gate bombing. You had 13 Americans killed with one bomb. You had somewhere close to 150 Afghanis killed and countless others injured. That was one explosive device. There was one explosive device. Yeah.
Was this in a vehicle, Congressman?
That was not a vehicle. The Abbey Gate bombing was not a vehicle bombing. It was something between the size of a backpack and a small suitcase. So you're not talking about a 155 millimeter round that goes out of a tank or a howitzer. You're not talking about a bomb dropped off the wing of an aircraft, and you're not even always talking about explosives that are as effective as those commercially produced. You're talking about things that people are manufacturing with a basic level of chemistry and then a basic level of electronics to put together some fusing system, and they're putting it together in their garage. Maybe they haven't even tested it because they're scared to test it. They'll bring attention to themselves, or they don't know if they'll blow themselves up if they test it, those sort of things. But it's a level more rudimentary quite often than what you're getting with the military industrial complex. But the results are, right, I lost 2 legs and a finger. The individuals at the Boston Marathon bombing, some of whom go to my place for prosthetics, lost legs or were killed. Or if they're smart and they put pieces of nail and glass and fragmentation in those devices, well, every piece of those little pieces of fragmentation that go through you, that's the same as a bullet going through you, if not worse. And if you get enough holes in you, they're not going to be able to plug them all. And that's the way that people die from these things. And if you're talking about a vehicle bomb, which we've seen extensively in our theaters of war, and you got to assume that any tactic used in our theaters of war can be used here at home, you might be talking about something weighing hundreds, if not thousands of pounds. And the extreme example of that would be the Oklahoma City bombing, which brought down half a building.
With a full tank of gas, you'd assume 30 gallons of gasoline inside of one of these vehicles. And so that's got to be horrifically deadly.
Fuel, I mean, if you look at 9/11 to the effects of what fuel can do.
When you look at these threats and you put them all in parallel with each other, and I'm not saying that they're all centrally planned or organized, but if you look at these threats, at what point do you start classifying them as terrorism? Because this is going to be the intended effect, right? Terrorism against a political movement. This is quite frankly political terrorism at this level.
It is absolutely terrorism. It would fall under no other definition. It should absolutely be labeled in any case or circumstance as hate crime, right? If any of this was being done against somebody because of the color of their skin or because of their religion, everybody would be saying hate crime, this is hate crime. If you're speaking the rhetoric to that hate crime, then you are a part of the problem right there. But you don't hear them saying that about the rhetoric out of Harris in the debate saying President Trump is the greatest threat to democracy. You don't see those things being treated in the same way because, again, they are part of this machine that doesn't have a conscience. I was amazed to see what I saw out of Chris Cuomo because generally I do not see a level of conscience or a sense of right or wrong or any of that out of that Democrat machine. It only knows to say we need victory to move these leftist policies and nothing else.
I did want to touch quickly on on victory here, and it seems, and you've been posting quite regularly about it, the SAVE Act and securing our elections. It does seem like this is going to be something that's going to be attached to a bill today. Can you talk me through only having American citizens vote in our elections?
Seems pretty common sense. Seems pretty important, right? Let your vote count. Let it not be canceled out by somebody illegal. Let's make sure that our elections are safe and secure so we not get cheating at any level, and especially not from illegals, but anywhere else. SAVE Act very specifically would go out there and say, hey, you have to show proof of citizenship. Why does that matter when you're registering to vote to show proof of citizenship in today's day and age? Because you have states across the board that are going out there and saying, you're an illegal immigrant. Well, on top of you getting your free food, your free transportation, your free lodging, your free medical care, your free legal aid fund, and everything else that the American taxpayer is giving you, this state is going to give you a state-issued ID, which now means that you could probably go out there and register and vote in that state, which is why federally we have to say, hey, there has to be a situation that says just because it says you can't vote if you're illegal, there have to be systems put into place. It also says you can't come across our border illegally, yet here you are.
Yeah, here you are. Amazing. How tens of thousands of Haitians get from Haiti to the middle of the country, and really a miraculous migration cycle there, Congressman.
Let's talk about the animals a minute there, right? The animals that President Trump was talking about, dogs getting eaten, cats getting eaten, very real problem in Florida. This is a literal problem in Florida. You can go track this by statistic. Horses stolen, then essentially cannibalized for their meat by illegal immigrants as a regular thing that happens in the state of Florida. I've known numerous people that have been involved in trials and different things going on where horses been stolen from them, and then they have finded the carcasses and they were just salvaged for their meat.
Wow. Import the third world. Get third world tactics. I mean, it's this practice is commonplace in some of the poorer and some of the more dangerous parts of the globe. And if you don't want it here, then you can't import that culture and bring that. You can't just openly import that 300,000 members of that culture in the country and not expect this to happen.
This goes to President Trump's policy back in the first administration, right? His pillars of immigration reform. One of those was, hey, let's be sensical about who we invite into our country. Let's do it by design because it's a smart person and we want their know-how and we want their innovation or their work ethic or something else. Not we're just going to do it by a random lottery system. That was the president being pragmatic, common sense. And what did the media do? And you used this word earlier. They create chaos around common sense policy that helps America win.
Yeah, that's right. And actual hoaxes. So we pray for security and safety in New York. One of the best members of Congress, one of the people who truly understand what it looks like to secure America, because he's done it his entire career, is the great Brian Mast, Florida. Please follow him and make sure that we keep our movement strong. Godspeed, sir.
Godspeed.
Checking in with my producers, we do have the spectacular Representative Tim Burchett, who is set and ready, and we're going to talk Secret Service protection and protocols with him. Do we have any more information about the bomb threat? If not, then we're just going to stick with the what the police. I just want to give an update here. What the police have reported here, which is that they have not found explosives. They found a hoax bomber who called in a fake bomb report at the Trump rally site. As of now, the Trump rally is still on. It is still scheduled for 7 p.m. this evening. There have been no other updates as to right now. There is a man in custody for what seems to be a fake bomb threat. Okay, well, we'll be watching it very, very closely. Ladies and gentlemen, joining us now, the great Congressman from Tennessee, Tim Burchett. This can be only explained, Congressman, as terrorism, political terrorism against a movement. The MAGA movement don't like to behave as victims, but are victims now. The intended effect with fake bomb threats, with shootings, with the murder of members of MAGA. The reality is this is the most victimized political movement in modern history.
It is, and you really have to look at some of the history of how this happens. You know, the CIA was under investigation, I think, and they discontinued the program in 1961, I believe, or 63, I can't remember. They, it was before I was born, but they had a group of folks that would get together and CIA, of course, they bring somebody in, they brainwash them, use psychotropic drugs, psychedelic drugs, what have you, and then brainwash them and make them capable of doing things with certain suggestions. You know, they pick up a phone and hear a certain word, something would happen. Well, and they said it didn't exist. They got sued. And then they were forced to admit they were doing it, and then they said that they weren't doing it anymore. So you got to ask yourself, are they still doing it or not? Because they lie. I mean, all they do is lie. We know that, and they hide it behind national defense, just like they do every other issue that they don't want to disclose. UFOs, anything else, they don't want to discuss it. Oh, it's national defense. We can't discuss it. So, but you fast forward now, and you know you have a segment of society that's mentally infirm. You've got these transgenders. You've got people that are psychologically on the edge. And certain things trigger them, and they continue to trigger them, and they continue to say these awful things. They show Donald Trump on the cover of a magazine with a Hitler mustache, things like that. They call him Hitler. They talk about need to be eliminated, these code words. And you've got to ask yourself, is this an orchestrated movement of what is going on right now? It doesn't have to have, you don't have to have 1,000 people. You have one person that whispers in the ear of an editor, one of these talking heads. All they do is regurgitate it and get paid $6 million a year to do it. And then knowing that somewhere out there in the vastness of this country, somebody will fit that profile. And here you got it. Again, this kid on the roof of this building. You say, Burchett, you're a conspiracy theorist. Well, it's hard not to be a conspiracy theorist when within hours of them blowing this guy's head off on this building in Pennsylvania, they're up there, FBI agents hosing the crime scene down. I don't know about where you are, but in East Tennessee, where I grew up, if there's a murder scene, I mean, they've taped it off. They're putting up tents. They're bringing in all the forensic people. And it was a bunch of souvenir hunters just within a matter of hours out there on a crime scene. And one that would obviously generate worldwide publicity. Then you get this same guy again, same situation. He's in a golf course. He's there 12 hours prior to it. I was at a football game in East Tennessee. Last couple of weeks I've been to them, and they have drones. I mean, literally they fly over and can see the part in my beautiful head of hair, and they can spot you could clearly see who I was. Yet you've got a guy who's the party's leading candidate who will be the next president of the United States if they don't steal it. And they don't have a $1,500 drone flying over him. They don't have capabilities of heat signature where they can spot somebody in those bushes. They can spot a rat running through there, obviously a human being. And if this guy had had the proper training and had cut a hole in that fence instead of sticking his gun through like trained snipers will do, we'd be having a different discussion right now, Benny. I'm very much afraid of that. And that's what we're looking at right now. Now, you've got to, and I'm sorry I'm talking so much, but I'm jacked up. I've had a Mountain Dew. And you have my buddy Brian Mast on there, who is incredible patriot. Love him. Sat beside him in foreign affairs. He left there to come be on your show. And so here I am. Imagine the irony. But going back to my original premise, you've got all this going on, and knowing that America believes in conspiracy, and yet they do nothing to squash that. You've got a Secret Service at a $3 billion a year budget, I believe over 6,000 employees. The vast majority of them are just bureaucrats. Now, the other job of Secret Service, of course, is policing the counterfeit bills out there. They ought to take that and put it over in Treasury. They ought to go through that department. I've been saying like Grant through Richmond, but apparently some of my Southern folks get ticked off about that. So I'm going to say they're going through that like Moses through the Red Sea. And that's what we need to do through that department. We need to clean it up. Yeah, all we did when Director Cheadle left, and I called her a DEI horror story. My buddy Riley Gaines always makes fun of me in my redneck voice and quotes that back to me. Her and her husband do. But the truth is, she was a DEI horror story. So they hired the number 2 guy. And what is he? He's just a product of the same problem. They had a Secret Service down in Miami who's investigating this or whatever, who's supposed to be over this thing. He was told to take down his anti-Trump tweets before they would hire him for this. This whole thing just stinks. They need to clean house. These people are not supposed to be political ideologues. They're supposed to defend the person they're assigned to the death. And we're seeing some real problems there, Benny. And I think it's a culture problem. We need to clean house.
So, Congressman, you brought up a very interesting tip of the hat to MK Ultra and the CIA mind controlling people and working in tandem with psychedelics and drugs. This is how you get, of course, the Manson murders and a lot of real horrible things happening in culture and society. And you're saying that there are gaps that don't make sense about this current would-be assassin of President Trump. You're a member of Congress. You're part of the law writing and the law writing part of our government. Can you please explain this to me? How does a guy who has 73 different criminal apprehensions not serve a single day in prison? A guy who has a weapons of mass destruction felony charge on his record not spend a single day in prison? How can that guy afford and purchase firearms? Where does he get the money to fly from Hawaii to North Carolina to Florida to DC to lobby your chamber, sir, and then to Ukraine? Why is he recruiting terrorists to go fight in Ukraine? That seemed to be his passion project. And most importantly, how's he vote? The guy votes in North Carolina. He voted in 2024. It shows you the integrity of our elections, I guess. He voted in 2024 in the Democratic primary in North Carolina, yet he lives in Hawaii. Never spent a day in prison. None of it makes sense to me.
Well, it should. And it's kind of the James Earl Ray concept. Here's James Earl Ray, who allegedly shot Martin Luther King. He was just a poor redneck thief. Caught him with a brand new Mustang, and they ended up catching him in London, England. Didn't have two nickels to rub together. This stuff just doesn't fit. They always get. I read a book a mobster wrote, and he was talking about how they always have a patsy. They always have one of these psychopath patsies, and that's the history of assassinations in this country, of major assassinations. That's generally where it comes down to, whether somebody's put a bug in their ear, literally or figuratively. I mean, this guy's a nut. Look at him. Yeah. I wouldn't step out of the electric chair to shake that guy's hand. And I'm a pretty friendly guy. The whole thing just stinks. They put out enough of this stuff, and then he's got no concept of any person who he's talked to about this. And if he lives long enough, and I tweeted also about, I hope the people that are watching his jail cell aren't the same ones that were watching Epstein's, because this just doesn't fit. And the trouble with America right now is, and I'm guilty of this, I say this all the dadgum time, but dadgummit, we want our pizzas in 30 minutes or less, and that's about our attention span. Nobody's even talking about the first assassination attempt where they actually clipped the president. They wouldn't be talking about if this knucklehead hadn't have done it. And in a couple of weeks, they won't even be talking about this. They'll be talking about, how to pronounce Kamala Harris's name. That'll be the next charge, I'm sure. And so it's bogus. And you've got people that hate Donald Trump. I was on a thing this morning and they were saying, oh, but we're not trying to say some people want him dead. Well, hell yeah, they want him dead. Get on the internet, read what people are saying. They're, noted people are saying something about, y'all need to learn how to aim your weapons better, things like that. That kind of garbage. This Vindman chick, she said something like that.
Yes.
Secret Service needs, or the FBI needs to go knock on her dadgum door.
Yes.
We have a First Amendment in this country, but you still can't yell fire in a crowded theater. And guess what? We're sitting in the middle of a dadgum crowded theater right now. And the left, and then what was their talking point immediately? Oh, it's because Donald Trump and all his people are saying ugly stuff. That is the most asinine assumption you could ever make, but it sticks because they all say it. All the legacy media. And Benny, honestly, if it wasn't for folks like y'all, the American people would not be getting any of the truth because we're shut down in Congress. My voice is silenced. I go on MSNBC and they cut my freaking mic off. But that's, I guess, a red badge of courage. But anyway, God bless you, brother. And I love the videos of you and your little girls. I got a little girl, and man, that just that gets me. I love my family, but anyway, like you do yours. Sorry.
I got to tell you, man, this thing stinks. This guy stinks. This guy's background. They really don't want you to look into this guy's background. How was he able to promise people no-look visas into Ukraine? This guy had connection. He was connections. How was he able to do this? He was working.
I don't even have those connections. I don't know how. It's crazy. How does this guy do all this stuff? Where's his money come from?
Yes.
How did he get? How did he get from North Carolina to Hawaii, down to Florida? How did he know to be on that golf course? Of course, he was there 12 hours, and I get it. Trump plays a heck of a lot of golf, but this was the off-the-record schedule. This was not the public schedule, which makes me think, there's a movie, The American President, and he goes in to buy flowers for this Benning lady, whatever, and they say, you can't do that, Mr. President. He said, Lewis, do you think on the off chance that someone's in there thinking I'm going to come by here and buy flowers, is going to kill me? And he said, well, it's plausible. Well, no, this thing is not plausible. This is just too much. And for them to also come out and say he's got the same security as the current president, that's just a lie, Benny. If I can, I was President Biden was speaking or something, was up on the floor, and I'm House member. I was up there. I walk out, and they stopped all the civilians, but I got this little pin on, so they let me go on. And I was just watching, the motorcade, and you didn't know which car the president was in, and all of a sudden you hear this thump, 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 thump. And this, I guess it was an Apache helicopter or something was flying over. Trump doesn't get that stuff. Those people are lying. Mayorkas is a liar. And to say that he gets the same security, the security ought to match the threat.
Yes.
George W. Bush down on the ranch painting, he probably doesn't need that as much security. Obama probably needs a little bit more because he's out in the public eye. Jimmy Carter, probably not. So their arguments are very shallow, and it's rookie day in Washington, D.C., and the bad people know it. And that makes, I pray for President Trump, and I ask God to give him safety.
One of your colleagues that I know you work very closely with, Eli Crane, said on our program yesterday that there may be a mole in the Secret Service, and that would explain the stunning accuracy of this assassin and picking the right hole, the right time, the right location on a trip that was not planned for Donald Trump. And I want to just get your take on that. You've obviously been posting quite regularly about reform at the Secret Service. Do you believe that there could actually be a mole inside of this agency? And I'll just preface by saying this: Dan Bongino also saying Trump needs to hire private security and be done with the regime security.
Yeah, I trust Eli Crane. He is a Navy SEAL. He is a trained sniper, and he should be on that DETAINED committee asking these questions. And Dan Bongino, former Secret Service agent, he retweeted one of my tweets this morning, sent me a message, whatever. But here he is. He's recruited Secret Service agents. He's been on presidential detail, and the thought of a mole is intentional and unintentional. And if somebody just leaks something, the bedroom talk, the old Russian honeypot thing, which you and I've talked about before. Somebody talks to somebody, somebody's talking to somebody on an unsecure phone, just anything along those lines, and they could very well be there and be unintentional. But to me, it's just somebody is talking, and it's getting out to somewhere. And to say that it isn't just is not accurate. I mean, we still don't know from the first shooting if all those agents that surrounded the president, the ones that couldn't get their guns in their holsters, the ones that were hiding in fear behind the pile, trying not to get shot, not doing their job, not doing what they're supposed to be doing. We're still not sure if those were even Secret Service agents or some detachment of Homeland Security. So, and we're never going to know all these answers. We will never know under this administration. I'll guarantee you, Benny. And I trust Eli Crane. I trust him with my life. I was with him this weekend. He's one of my dear friends, and he ought to be on that DETAINED committee. because the guy never says anything. Like my daddy used old Marine Corps, and Daddy said the snipers don't talk much, buddy. If they did, they'd get shot. And Eli's he doesn't say much, but when he does, you better listen, dadgummit. You better listen.
Whew. Terrifying times. We pray for safety and security for everybody who's at the Donald Trump rally in Long Island this evening. We need to win. We must win. Victory is the only option.
The only option.
We got to win, Congressman, and then restore a little sanity in this country. Put some people who belong in prison, and make America mentally healthy again.
And it goes all the way down the ballot, Benny. School board, U.S. Senate, House of Representatives, President, all that. All those things are important because we're losing our country top to bottom, and they know it. We've let them have a field day with this thing, and 20 million so-called evangelical Christians decide to stay home on election day. This is what we get.
That's right. Well, here's to my producer saying, put up your Epstein tweet here. So here's to them keeping Ryan Ralph alive and being able to find some answers, hopefully, and not having make sure. Let's hope that Ralph's guards are not the same ones who are watching Epstein. Yeah, we agree. We could not agree more, Congressman.
Hey, Benny, just one last thing. I'm not suicidal, so if y'all find me like falling off a deep cliff, or with my hands tied behind my back with zip ties, or if I get shot in the back of the head 12 times, I did not commit suicide. I just want you to know.
We'll make sure that the audience knows that, and we'll say it every show. We'll say it every show, Congressman. Thank you. Godspeed. You can click here on the profile. Tim Burchett. Man, look at that. 157,000 followers. Congressman. Boom. In the right ways. Boom. In the right ways, not the. Ooh,
my people love you, Benny. Thank you. Every time I'm on here, I get a Benny bump. So I appreciate it on Twitter. Look, I already went 157 and went up like 4 right there. You're the man. Hey, and love you, and I love your family, brother. Thank you for what you're doing for this country, honestly.
God bless you, Congressman. We're going to win.
God has blessed me. Thank you, brother.
Love that guy. If we had a Congress filled with good old boys like that who just shoot straight and don't lie to the American people and tell the truth, we'd have a very different country. We'd be on a very, very different trajectory here. Something crazy has happened, man. Something nuts. I don't know. We played you the clip of Cuomo apologizing to Trump and saying this is insane what we're doing to this guy. Now Richard Blumenthal, of all people, are coming out saying, going directly after the Biden regime and directly after Biden's DHS. Richard Blumenthal is a Trump-hating senator from Connecticut. This guy does not like President Trump, but he is going scorched earth against DHS and Secretary Mayorkas, saying they're going to now use subpoena power because the people who are responsible for protecting Donald Trump are not giving their documents up in the assassination investigation. Here we go.
I am reaching the point of total outrage because the response from the Department of Homeland Security has been totally lacking. In fact, I think it's tantamount to stonewalling in many respects. If necessary, I'll certainly support a subpoena.
So the first case is full of dozens of errors, most of them human errors. And someone needs to take responsibility for that, and I don't think they have had adequately. The Secret Service has not accepted responsibility yet for these failures. If a guy can hang out for 10 hours with a semi-automatic rifle, 100 yards from where the president's playing golf, that's a problem.
For Rand. I love seeing Rand jump in on this. Rand was a victim of a terrorist attack. I physically watched Rand Paul get assaulted in the streets of Washington, D.C., completely helpless because there was a mob. There was a roving mob of BLM and Antifa sociopaths outside of the White House when Donald Trump gave his RNC acceptance speech in the year 2020. And I walked out of the White House gate next to Rand, and this mob attacked Rand. It's on camera. Him and his wife were there. These people are monsters. Rand Paul speaking last night about what the Harris-Biden administration has done here in refusing to protect Donald Trump.
One of the most important things that we've asked the Secret Service for was denials of security. So the Trump security detail, Secret Service detail, as well as the Trump campaign for months and months requested more security, and this was denied by the Secret Service. They know it. I've asked the director. They've looked into it, but they haven't shared any of it with us. We know that in Butler County was the first time that they had counter snipers there. Thank God. If they had not had the counter snipers there, that shooter would have continued, and Donald Trump would have surely been killed, as well as many more people. He was taken down pretty quickly, but there was a host of errors. He never should have gotten on the roof. They saw him for 90 minutes, but never stopped the proceeding in order to interview him or interdict him. They knew he was on the roof, man on a roof, for 3 minutes. That was broadcast to the control tent, and yet Trump was still not taken from the stage. So the first assassination attempt, error after error after error, but these were errors of willpower, not manpower. Now, like Washington, everything else, somebody fails at their job, you give them more money. No, why don't we replace the people who didn't do their job and have better people in those positions?
Man, it is truly despicable to look into the heart of darkness and see that these people don't care if their political enemies live or die. We've been talking about this for a long time, how the Marxists throughout all history, they're godless. They don't see you as their fellow countrymen. They only see power, and you are someone who prevents them from having unlimited power. You don't have any agency. You don't have any right to life. Your life is meaningless to them. The Marxist is the Marxist is the world's worst creature, truly. And this has been proven. I can show you 100 million bodies this last century that prove that the only impediment to a Marxist in power is, well, how many people can they kill? How many of their political enemies can they massacre? And I do not want that to be America. I do not want that to be our country. I don't want the Marxists to gain power here. I want us to live in a peaceful and happy country. I want the people that I deeply disagree with politically, people that I cannot stand politically. I don't ever want harm to befall them. That is the difference between us and them. I wish for them to live peaceful, happy lives. The end. All right. I will disagree with them. And that is the Marx difference. And you can see it in Biden and in Karine Jean-Pierre, along with Hillary Clinton last night, continually calling Donald Trump a threat. They've hardwired their people. I can't believe Burchett talking about MK Ultra. They've hardwired their people into saying Donald Trump is not human. They dehumanize them. Who wouldn't want to kill baby Hitler, right? Yeah. Here we go.
Every leader, national leader, or any leader in this country should be calling out political violence and bringing the country together, not dividing it.
Just to be clear, just to clarify, so you're saying that the president and vice president believe that former President Donald Trump should be toning down his rhetoric?
So I'll say this. President Biden has been clear-eyed about the threat that the former president represents to our democracy.
It's been only 2 days since somebody allegedly tried to kill Donald Trump again. And you're here at the podium in the White House briefing room calling him a threat. How many more assassination attempts on Donald Trump until the president and the vice president and you pick a different word to describe Trump other than threat?
Peter, if anything from this administration, I actually completely disagree with the premise of your question, the question that you're asking. It is also incredibly dangerous in the way that you're asking it.
Call Donald Trump Hitler, say he needs to be eliminated, say he needs a target on his back. Some Democrats have gone out. Stacey Plaskett's the one, we'll name drop it. Stacey Plaskett, she's a fake representative from the Virgin Islands, U.S. Virgin Islands. She straight up said Trump deserves to be shot. She said it. She said it on TV. We should shoot Trump. She said it. She corrects herself, right? But what's the implication here? And Karine Jean-Pierre, after all of this, Karine Jean-Pierre comes out and says, I'm the victim. It's me. You're the one who's threatening me. You can't argue with this. You can't argue with the Marxists. Do we have those numbers? Pop them up. You can't argue with the Marxists. This is what they're capable of. maybe we should do this every single show. This is what you are voting against. Hey, MAGA, you're voting against this. This is the body count. China, USSR, Cambodia, North Korea, Africa, Afghanistan, Vietnam. This is the body count for communists. You can see soaring into the 100 million mark of a stack of bodies of people who prevented communists from coming to power. They see you as they don't just see you as their political enemy. They see you as not, if you disagree with them, then you're not worthy of life. And they've proven this again and again and again. This is why you must prevent the communists from taking power. We are slightly encouraged by some pretty remarkable moments that have been happening. We played you, cringe, getting fact-checked there, Chris Cuomo, here on CNN. Dude, what does this say when CNN has rolled the cars back on their biggest hoax? Arguably, the biggest hoax pulled on Donald Trump this year, and ALX, you can tell me if you agree with this or not in the chat, but because we watch every single Trump speech, the biggest hoax is that Donald Trump said there's going to be a bloodbath if he's elected. Well, maybe let's get the reference clip just so that you can see it. You've seen it before. Donald Trump says in a speech, and he's in Michigan, he says, hey, if I'm not elected, there's going to be a bloodbath in the auto industry. They're going to get rid of your jobs and ship them down to Mexico like they've been doing by the hundreds of thousands. We were just in Detroit. We've actually heard a bunch of people tell us these stories. We saw the wreckage. The entire city is abandoned. It used to be the fastest growing city in the world, actually, 100 years ago. And now it's gone. So Trump's telling the truth. Now, what that was spun into is Trump says there's going to be a bloodbath if he's not elected. It's amazing how the people who are committing all the political violence has to seize on hoaxes in order to get their narratives out. CNN of all people. Oh, do we have the Trump bloodbath full? Yep. Okay. Here, I'll play you this, and then I'll play you something remarkable. CNN's now checking this as a hoax. CNN live on air now checking. CNN employees are now saying this is a hoax. Do not say that Donald Trump called for a bloodbath. Here's Trump's original comments.
You know, Mexico has taken over a period of 30 years, 34% of the automobile manufacturing business in our country. Think of it. Went to Mexico. China now is building a couple of massive plants where they're going to build the cars in Mexico and they think that they're going to sell those cars into the United States with no tax at the border. Let me tell you something to China. If you're listening, President Xi, and you and I are friends, but he understands the way I deal, those big monster car manufacturing plants that you're building in Mexico right now, and you think you're going to get that, you're going to not hire Americans, and you're going to sell the cars to us. No, we're going to put a 100% tariff on every single car that comes across the line, and you're not going to be able to sell those cars. If I get elected, now if I don't get elected, it's going to be a bloodbath for the whole, that's going to be the least of it. It's going to be a bloodbath for the country. That'll be the least of it. But they're not going to sell those cars. They're building massive factories. A friend of mine.
So there you go. There's the full context of the clip. CNN and everybody else runs with the hoax that Donald Trump says, if you don't elect me, there's going to be a bloodbath. And now on CNN, they're fact-checking that. We'll take the small victories. Ladies and gentlemen, they're very salty on CNN about it. This is our Salt That Lib for the day. The CNN getting harshly fact-checked by their own employees live on air. Get those salt shakers moving, okay? Got them, baby. Get that sodium. The crying libs need extra sodium because of their salty tears. Fill the comment section with salt, please. Salt That Lib for the day. CNN getting fact-checked on the bloodbath hoax.
I mean, the underpinning of her campaign, I mean, she repeats it herself. Trump will be a dictator on day one. I mean, this country fights dictators. That's what our history is. We fight dictators.
Didn't he say that?
He'll be a dictator.
Those were his words.
There'll be a bloodbath. There'll be a bloodbath.
That there would be a bloodbath.
He wants to terminate the U.S. Constitution.
She didn't say that there would be
the first thing she said, which was true, and the second thing
it is said by every Democrat working for or around her campaign every day on this network and every other one. The bloodbath thing is stated every single day.
Okay, let me
But my point is, dictator, bloodbath, eliminate Constitution.
Hold on.
What do you think that does
to clear this up. You're referring to Trump's use of the word bloodbath when he was talking.
And what was he talking about?
I'm going to explain it to people because I think there's confusion about this. Use of the word bloodbath when he was talking about, vehicle manufacturing jobs in the United States. Vice President Harris improperly and unfairly mischaracterized that as him saying there would be a bloodbath if he were elected. However, she did not say that if Trump were elected, there would be a bloodbath. She did not say that.
I know you have interviewed and had people out here and have watched the same coverage I have. The bloodbath garbage is it is a pillar of the Democratic campaign against Trump, as is dictator, as is eliminate the U.S. Constitution.
Dictator stuff is true.
If I told you,
do you feel the need to?
But if I told you all that about somebody,
do
you would say
Trump
maybe
is
this
doing,
person,
which is to sort of blame Democrats instead of saying, "Oh yeah, maybe actually both of these guys are screwing up."
I feel
which
the
is
need,
sort of what I think the rest of us are saying.
I feel the need to tell you all tonight that we can't even talk about the rhetoric moving forward because it's too late.
No,
so many people,
big
for
thing to
Trump,
say.
Trump, it's too late. He can't even go outside. So many people have already been radicalized by this.
Isn't it amazing having this? It's like having this 5-on-1 cage match at CNN. The guy's name's Scott Jennings. He's a CNN employee, and he does a great job arguing there. And the moderator fact checks and says, "Yo, that's right. Trump was just talking about the auto industry. It's a good thing. We'll take the small victories. We'll take the small victories." Crazy little twist in the recent Trump assassination attempt that someone reported Ralph to authorities and they did nothing. Did you see this? This is a fascinating little twist here, along with people who've been now going into his house and taking photos. The guy's a total freak. The more we find out, the more confusing it gets. I hate it when that happens. So somebody spotted Ralph and authorities did nothing. Is this starting to rhyme to you? Somebody spotted Thomas Crooks and nobody did anything. Look, he's got a gun. Shucks, we all got guns. Time to run away. Here we go.
What about Ruth struck you?
He had very bizarre and volatile tendencies. As a nurse, I'm a mandated reporter, and we are also trained to determine when someone is a threat to themselves or others. I determined after knowing Ryan for a while that he was a threat to others. So I felt that it was necessary that he be reported to the proper authorities.
And you reported this to the federal government. And what happened next?
I haven't heard anything. I have had no correspondence. Nobody had tried to connect with me until today.
Okay. Has someone from which agency specifically connected with you now?
A agency has connected with me. I don't want to say which one, but someone has connected with me.
Okay. In your conversations and observations of Ruth, what were the things that he was saying he was operating in?
Ryan got involved with the humanitarian side as well as the military side. He got involved with things that he shouldn't have been involved with. He was able to con members in the Ukrainian military. He was able to con charities. He was a good con artist. He was calculated, but he was also very volatile and sporadic.
Wait, he was able to con the Ukrainian military? What are you talking? What are you talking about here? What's going on here? He's able to con the Ukrainian military. The guy has a website up saying that he can get terrorists' passports into Ukraine. We talked about this at length with Mike Benz. What is this? Sorry, we do our research on this program. We'll show you the evidence. Here you go. Don't call your home country or embassy to seek approval to join the fight. Simply get on a plane and come to Ukraine, and then we're going to get you a no-look passport visa into the country. Do not waste time at the embassy in your country. Just come here, and we got what you need. Who the hell was this guy? Very glad that Ron DeSantis is doing a full investigation inside Ryan Routh's home as FBI conducts a raid of the would-be assassin. Remember, the FBI knew the assassin. The FBI knew him. They admitted, we knew the guy. We got a call, like this, the whistleblower is just on with Jesse Waters show. We got a call saying this guy's insane, and he's buying, this guy's insane, he's a criminal, and he's buying firearms, and the FBI did nothing. Hawaii, first images show the inside of attempted Donald Trump assassin Ryan Routh's cluttered Hawaii bungalow, revealed to FBI agents after they raided it on Tuesday morning. The photos obtained by the Post show well-lived-in, messy home covered in island-theme wall art, modest, bright blue abode in the small town of Kaua on the island of Oahu. On shares with his girlfriend, valued at $800,000. How's he living a nearly $1 million home? How's he got all this stuff? Where's the money come from? Boxes of power tools and kitchen utensils seen stacked in the living room. Patio outside was piled high with miscellaneous, mismatched furniture, rolled up rugs, ping pong tables, dining room. Said federal agents burst through the door on the bungalow at 6 a.m. and searched the place until about 1 p.m., leaving boxes and bags of evidence. You can see here a very cluttered and messy abode. The search also through the would-be assassin's white pickup truck with which bears a Biden-Harris sticker, littered with construction equipment, dirt, and parking tickets. You can see here, if you scroll down, the inside of the pickup truck is filthy. I mean, obviously, indicative of somebody who lives a, very messy lifestyle. It's certainly not indicative of somebody who has the cash to fly to Ukraine on a whim. It took thousands and thousands of dollars to fly anywhere from Hawaii. Go look at what it would cost, no matter where you're watching right now, unless you're watching from Hawaii. Go look at where it would cost, what it would cost for you to fly from where you're watching to Hawaii. Where's the guy get his money? Where's the money? Scroll down one more photo, please. Here's him in Ukraine. Wow, would you look at that? Here he is, having a good old time. He's a volunteer, you see. Who's paying for it? Ralph remains in custody nearly 5,000 miles away in Florida, where he was arrested on Sunday after allegedly being caught with an assault rifle in the bushes at Trump Golf Club. Secret Service agents spotted a rifle barrel before he was able to fire off any shots. He was within 300 yards of Ralph. Anyone will tell you that 300 yards, well, that's enough. Snipers are trained up to like 1,500 yards, and the longest sniper shot I think ever was like 3,000 yards. So Donald Trump was in great danger. Nobody has been able to figure out how Ralph was able to vote in a North Carolina primary this year, 6 months ago, in spite of living in Hawaii, having no money, buying a gun, in spite of his 73 criminal arrests, including a felony for owning a weapon of mass destruction. Convicted of carrying a weapon of mass destruction. Got it. He's had numerous run-ins with the law, including a 3-hour armed standoff in North Carolina in 2002. So why the F isn't this guy in jail for the rest of his life? Let me make this very clear. Don't try having an armed standoff with the police with a weapon of mass destruction. You will go to jail for the rest of your life. Ryan Ralph was free to try and take a pot shot at the president and film it on his GoPro for World Star. Got it? See the difference? Yeah. Thousands expected to converge on Long Island Trump rally tonight amid tight security. There's going to be very, very tight security at this thing. We pray for the people who are attending tonight. I think it's going to be important for us to probably be live given all the threats. And so I think we'll be live tonight for this event. And obviously you can see here, I want you guys to see this because it's very interesting. President Trump, can you scroll through this? Look at the counter snipers they have at Donald Trump's events now and at his building. Goodness gracious. Look at this. Look at the gear that they're packing. Holy smokes. About halfway down the article. Goodness. So this looks like they've got military grade around Trump now. Thank God. Security detail is larger than any other former president, obviously. Trump's family members are also getting enhanced security details. New York Police Department also stepping up to provide for protection. Melania Trump was spotted with a heavy armed detail leaving Trump Tower earlier in the day. Thank God. There's a dude having to come up and down off a sniper perch that they have there, with a massive Beretta or something. I don't know exactly what the guy's shooting there, but that's what I would assume they got up there on the perch. Good, amazing. We'll be following the event today in Long Island. And one more time, ladies and gentlemen, we got a a bomb threat, which is, I guess, what you can chalk it up to, a bomb threat hoax on the event. That's what the police have said is a bomb threat hoax on the event. Cops confirmed, they've updated their headline. Cops confirmed no threat to Donald Trump's rally following a report of explosives found in car. No physical threat. There is, of course, a terrorist threat, which is the fake bomb threat. So there we go. Let's end on some happy news. That is the bomb. Ha 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 ha. I'm a father of 4, so I'm entitled to a dad joke. 2024 presidential race shock poll reveals Kamala Harris weakness. She's unliked by everyone. Nobody likes her. Shocking presidential poll reveals a major weakness for Kamala Harris that could decide the race. Stunning poll finds that Kamala Harris is very unlikable. When it comes to crucial independent voters, the candidate is below 50%. New Gallup survey finds that just 35% of independents view the vice president favorably. 60% view her unfavorably. That puts her 25% underwater. Trump is viewed much better than that. It's a survey of 1,000 independents. So Kamala Harris neck and neck in the polls. I mean, it's that this is what the polls effectively are showing. But some of our favorite pollsters were on this week, including Mark from Rasmussen yesterday, saying expect Kamala to collapse next week. Trump is up 2 and 3, and the Kamala Harris, like the panic train, will actually begin next week. It's not the winner who demands a new debate immediately, who demands a new fight. So Donald Trump, I say, stand strong. We'll be live for Donald Trump tonight, standing strong in New York, ladies and gentlemen. Here's what Donald Trump said. We'll end with a clip of the really heartwarming story of Donald Trump yesterday during his town hall. But before we do that, if you appreciate what we do here, please consider becoming a member. Consider going to BennyJohnson.com, signing up for the Benny Brigade. If you become a member, what you do is you support our journalism. We're going to be dropping some new man on the streets, some new big interviews on our brand new channels. Please go and give them a follow. Again, we will tell you there's some content up on the channels right now, but these are going to be the channels for our Man on the Street show, Benny on the Block, and for our long form show, it's going to be Benny Brews. And I'll remind you that brews could also be coffee and beer. Both of them are brewed. So, so maybe having coffee with people and beer. So there you go. Verse of the day, baby. 2 Corinthians, or as Trump would say, 2 Corinthians. But thanks to God, who always leads us as captives in Christ's triumphant procession and uses us to spread the aroma of his knowledge and him everywhere. Thanks be to God. He leads us in a triumphant profession. We wish to be triumphant on this program. We do this program through thick and thin and through some very dark times, quite frankly. Man, we've never seen anything like 2024 here. The forces of evil want Trump dead. He is fighting a dark spiritual battle against the forces of darkness, the armies of darkness. So stand up, know that we have the victory in Christ Jesus, our Lord and Savior, and make sure that we declare that everywhere. March on to victory with us. Here's a heartwarming story from President Trump last night at the first town hall since the assassination attempt. Godspeed. Love you.
And I have to say, because I have to, while we're on the subject, because people do like to talk about it. A few days ago, we had an incident. I have to say, Secret Service did a hell of a job. They really did. They caught one of the gentlemen one of the agents was walking a couple of holes in front, and he saw a rifle, AK-47. That's serious stuff, right? You know more about that. My sons know more about this stuff. But AK-47, that's a bad one. The other one was an AR-15. This was an AK-47. And he saw the barrel of the gun coming out from a bush. Can you believe it? This guy was all set. He was all set to do his number. And there was no talk. He didn't say, hello, what are you doing here, please? and he ends up getting shot himself. He took his gun, started shooting him, and this guy ran. No, great job. I don't know if he's, where is he? Not here, right? This guy, these guys do a great job. Now, they do need more people, and they've been complaining about that for a long time, but he did a great job. But you want to know another sort of a miracle? So the guy's now running for his life, and he's got a car a block away or whatever. And a woman, this is a woman, not a man, a woman, see? Women are smarter than men. I hate to say. How does that sound? Our great First Lady is very happy now. Let me just tell you, think of this. Who would do this? I actually asked, I was with the sheriff this morning, I was with a couple of people from Secret Service, who would do this? So you now have a man running, not with a gun, he dropped the gun, we found the gun, but he was gone. And a woman driving in a car saw a man on the street, pretty busy street, running. And she followed him. And he got into the car, and she stopped because she thought he was trouble. He looked different. He like trouble. She followed him, it wasn't very far, and parked the car behind his car and started taking pictures of his license plate. Now think of it. And Sarah, think of it. No, seriously, who would do that? It's
the women.
Not from good or bad, not from, strength or heroism. No, just, you see somebody running. I see people running all the time. And you don't follow. She saw something in this guy that was bad. She may have heard maybe gunshots because there were four gunshots. Actually, the shots, he never got off a shot. The shots were from Secret Service. But think of it. Who would do this? If you took 1,000 of these incidents, would even one person have done it? This woman was, I haven't met her, but I'd like to meet her. I'm going to meet her, I hope. But think of this. She goes in, she takes pictures of the plate, and then she sends the pictures into the sheriff's office. And the sheriffs are saying, wow, this is pretty amazing. And they were able to get this guy within 10 minutes. They had a high-speed chase on the highway. They got him. Otherwise, we'd probably have an AK-47. They had the camera. He had the whole thing. He was a sophisticated guy. He even had the serial number taken off the rifle, the gun. But think of this. So we'd have all the stuff. But I'd be walking around saying, I wonder where this guy is. Is he in this audience? We would have a maniac out there. This woman was unbelievable. Because I actually asked the sheriff, if it happened 1,000 times, would anybody have done that? He said, maybe, but not much, not much. So she did she was really amazing.
Hey. Guess what day it is? Woo! Guess what? It's your fault. Crazy Democrats, you act Trump. Maybe, just maybe, you love him too much. Guess what? When you wear a Trump hat, it means you are MK Ultra, psyop the press, Democrat. Guess what? It doesn't matter anyway. Guess what day? It is. It's hump day. Get it on. Hump day. No. The biggest ships in the sea, all owned by the oldest kings, and their dying legacy, media dillweeds. Soon will the Benny Show come to mind, the salt from Lives for Fun. Leave the gold and bring the gun, we sail for #1. Show come to mind, the salt from Lives for Fun. Leave the gold and bring the gun, we sail for #1. The biggest ships in the sea, all owned by the oldest king.